All right, welcome back. This is the second dplyr video, and we're going to talk about piping in this video. This should be a short one, and we're actually going to start with the code that we already have from the first dplyr video. So let's load in Tidyverse, let's load in Haven, let's load in our crime data. Okay, so in this code right here, we've done a whole bunch of stuff to our data. We mutated to create a new variable, we filtered to select some rows, we used select to select some columns, and then we used arrange to sort the data, we used rename. Now, one cool thing about dplyr and Tidyverse in general is that you can do something called piping. What piping does is, instead of having to write crime gets this thing over and over and over again, you can just take a data set, you can feed it in to a dplyr command. You can then feed the results of that into another dplyr command. You can feed the results of that into another dplyr command, and so on and so forth. What this allows you to do is a couple of things. One, it allows you to get rid of having to type crime less than dash over and over and over again. It also allows you to stop putting the data set in the command itself, because it knows what data set you're feeding it. Okay. Also, let's say there's an error in one of your code lines, all right? So if you do a command, and 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 then there's an error, oops, well you got to start over again, right? So you got to load in the data again, you got to do the command, you got to do the command, and until you finally get it right, okay? With the piping, if there's an error in your code, it will just go back to the original thing that it started with. So you won't have to go all the way back to the beginning. It'll save you a lot of time in that way as well. So what we're going to do, all we're going to do in this video is we're going to take the exact same code that we had in the previous video, and we're going to turn it into a piped version of itself. Okay? So we bred in crime. So crime is going to be, I'm still going to want to set whatever I create equal to crime. So this first one is going to stay right where it is. But I'm going to start with the crime data set right there. And then I'm going to pipe it with a % sign, and then a greater than sign, and then a % sign. That's our pipe. So it's going to take crime, and it's going to sort of feed it through the pipe into the next command. Okay, and we can take advantage of the fact that we can break everything onto multiple lines to keep it nice and clean. Okay, so I'm going to take crime, I'm going to pipe it into mutate. I don't need to put crime in the mutate because it knows that I'm feeding it the crime data set. I'm going to do my mutating, then I'm going to pipe the results of that into my filter. Okay, so I'm going to select just the urban variables there. Again, I don't need crime in there. I'm going to pipe the results of that into my select command. So let's just pick all the variables that start with, let's pick crime rate and the police per capita, and then whatever we're going to need also for our sorting. So we decided to sort on the year and crime rate, so let's keep year as well. Okay, and county, why not? So whatever I want to pick. And then let's take the result of that and let's pipe it in to our arrange command, which is going to, oops, I don't need crime in here. Okay, that's going to sort it in the way that I like. And then finally, let's go ahead and rename crime rate, or crumroot, to crime rate. There we go. Okay, so all that I've done here is I've just sort of taken all the commands that I did, I put them into one command that I can run all at once. If I do Control-Enter here, it will run all of this. And it will also run it in order, which means a couple of things. So let's say that I wanted to create a variable and then use that new variable to do something else. Let's say I want to sort on tax per police, not on this. So first of all, of course, I want to select tax per police, right? Which I can do because I created it up here, so I can select it down here, and then I can arrange on it down here. Great. I can even use it to create new variables. Let's say I want to do, I want to take that new variable that I just created, and I want to square it. Let's say tax squared, tax per police squared is tax per police squared. Right? So of course I have to break that into two different mutates because I need the first mutate to create tax per police so that the second one can refer to it. So that's basically it. I can save a whole lot of typing this way. I can make my code more consistent. I can use one stage to affect another. It all works out really well. Plus, I can put this into something else. So for example, let's say that I wanted to run a regression using modified data. All right. So let's say that I wanted to include tax per police in a regression. Now, crime currently, before I run this, does not have the tax per police in it. So let's say I want to run it up here, right? So what I can do is I can say, okay, run a linear model. I want you to regress the crime rate on tax per police, okay? And I want the data to be a piped data set that I'm going to create right here. So I'm going to say crime piped to mutate tax per police is equal to tax per capita divided by police per capita. Okay, so I can feed it into other stuff even. So if I do this, it'll do just fine. Even though I haven't run this yet, I haven't created the tax per police variable, I created it in here and fed it into the data part of the linear model. Let's go ahead and run this whole block of code right here for good measure, which I'm only gonna have to do with Control-Enter once. It will do everything. And I can see in here, it's already limited it to the variables that I selected, right? It's got tax per police in there. It is sorted, arranged by year, and then tax per police. Everything that I wanted, piped precisely. And this is, I mean, this seems pretty awesome to me. This is a pretty good time saver. It's going to get even better in the next video when we start doing things like grouping our data set. Okay, that's it. See you in dplyr part 3.